imagine the roar of engines, maybe the smell of virtual rubber, and definitely the thrill of the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Now, picture all of that happening on a digital track, but for a cause that's, well, truly impactful.
Right.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the Freedom 100. It's this high-stakes virtual iRacing event held at the, iconic Talladega Superspeedway.
That would be, yeah.
And our mission today, it's to uncover the fascinating layers behind this race. We're talking intricate strategies on the track, but also its heartfelt purpose supporting Mission 22.
Incredible charity, really focused on veterans' mental health.
Exactly. So you're about to get a shortcut to being well-informed on this surprising blend of patriotism, cutting-edge sim racing, and, frankly, profound generosity.
It's quite the mix. Get ready for some aha moments, I think.
Okay, let's unpack this. The Freedom 100, the timing was perfect, right? 4th of July weekend.
Absolutely. It really captured that spirit of American freedom, independence, honoring the folks who serve.
Yeah. And even virtually, it had that almost supernatural feel of NASCAR super speedway racing. The red, white, and blue everywhere.
Yeah, which is so ingrained in NASCAR culture and American history, too. But what's striking is how global it felt, despite the theme.
How so?
Well, you had international drivers involved, like Paul Sattmurray from Germany. He even proudly mentioned being the one German in the field.
Wow.
It just shows how sim racing kind of breaks down those barriers, right?
Yeah.
The geographical, financial, it becomes this global passion.
That's a great point. And beyond the racing, the real core, the heart of it, was Mission 22. The fundraising was genuinely impressive. Over $1,300 raised before the race even started.
Yeah, that's significant. And drivers really went, like you said, above and beyond the suggested $10 donation.
And they had the live QR code during the broadcast, too, for donations. That level of generosity for a virtual event, it says a lot.
It really does. And Mission 22, their work is just vital. They help veterans with post-service injuries, mental health challenges, that whole transition to civilian life.
Which is so critical.
And they support spouses, too,
Yeah.
which often gets overlooked, but is so important. Mental health is universal, but for service members who face things most of us can't imagine.
Yeah.
Mission 22 is crucial in fighting that stigma, getting them help faster. Reducing treatment time is huge.
And the race itself paid a direct tribute, didn't it? Lap 22 was a silent lap.
That's right. A really poignant moment, directly honoring Mission 22. And you have to acknowledge the organizers, Tanner Marr, Mark Arthur, Dalton Kilrow. The effort they put in. Planning, rules, invites, announcements. It was immense.
Really pulling it all together.
Exactly. It just shows how these communities, even virtual ones, can unite for something meaningful, bridging entertainment and actual philanthropy.
It really proves that passion online can translate to real purpose offline, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Very tangible impact from a digital community.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the virtual arena itself. Talladega. It's described as a quintessential oval track.
Oh, absolutely. For oval fans, winning at Talladega, even virtually, it's up there with Daytona, a real bucket list win.
And the car they used, the RCA car. Tell us about that.
Right, the ARCA Aero model. It's often seen as sort of a feeder series car for NASCAR's top divisions. Powerful, but less aerodynamic focus than, say, the Cup cars.
Meaning
They're not the easiest things to manipulate and handle. And the side draft is, well, they called it pretty brutal.
total side draft.
Yeah. Just being slightly alongside another car can massively disrupt your airflow, your grip, makes it really challenging.
So we had 31 cars in the field. Steve Loving from Premier Sim Racing, he grabbed pole in the number 27.
Yep, set the pace early.
But I heard the liveries, the paint schemes were almost as big a story as the race.
Oh, definitely. The creativity and patriotism were just fantastic to see. You had Brad Lawson's number 2 car.
Yeah.
He won the paint scheme contest.
Oh, cool. What was his like?
It was this really tasteful, kind of subtle military homage. Had camo, emblems, really well done.
Nice.
Then Mark Arthur's number 12, that was striking, a marine dress blue look.
Really? Like the uniform?
Exactly. Red blood stripe down the side, white top, a direct nod. I think that might resonate with your background a little.
Maybe just a bit. Yeah. Okay, who else stood out?
Kyle Wellman's number 42 had this sort of muted patriotic look. Someone described it as like Navy ship gray, or maybe those unpainted B-17 bombers from World War II. Very cool aesthetic.
Interesting. Any non-military themes?
Well, Ben Hollum's car was hard to miss. The Xbox livery, it was just the most green car out there. instantly recognizable.
Oh, okay. Easy to spot.
For sure. And then lots of others. Brian Cook with classic red, white, and blue. Thomas Freitas had an American flag theme. Cody Gibson ran a patriotic number 7. Apparently after treating his Cheetos scheme.
A Cheetos scheme. Okay, the patriotic one was probably more fitting for the Freedom 100.
Probably a good call, yeah.
And it wasn't just individuals, right? You mentioned Premier Sim Racing, but there were others.
Oh, yeah, a whole network.
Yeah.
Average Joe's Sim Racing League, High Tide Racing League, Blazing Pedals. Drivers from all over the sim racing community came together. Shows how interconnected it all is.
Right. So let's talk dynamics. Qualifying at Talladega, how does that work? Is there a specific trick to it?
There definitely is a strategy. Lap 1, you typically run the high line right up against the wall. That lets you wind up this engine, build maximum speed.
Okay, high line first, then.
Then on lap 2, your timed lap, you come down to that yellow line at the bottom of the track. The idea is to minimize the amount of track distance you cover while carrying all that speed. Shortest path, highest speed.
Got it. So green flag waves, race starts. What are the absolute basics of super speedway racing with a big pack like that?
It really boils down to the draft. It's all about strength in numbers, finding partners, and just patience. Critically, staying in line.
Patience seems key. What about bump drafting?
Yeah, bump drafting is essential, pushing the car ahead of you. These RRCA cars are apparently a little more friendly for it than some newer models, but it still takes precision. One wrong nudge.
Right. And that brutal side draft you mentioned.
Exactly. That's incredibly powerful. Being alongside someone disrupts their air, slows them, pulls you forward. Mastering that interaction, using it offensively and defensively, that's huge.
Okay, I heard about something called the sucker hole. Sounds ominous. What is that?
Huh? Yeah, the sucker hole. It's usually that tempting middle lane. It looks open, looks like a good run,
Right.
but it often has no draft. You're not getting a push from behind. You're not pulling anyone. If you get caught there alone, you just go backwards fast, like hitting a wall of air.
So sticking to the main drafting lines is crucial. Avoid the middle if you're solo.
Absolutely. Top drivers know to see disciplined, prioritize that aerodynamic help. That open lane can be a trap.
What about the length of the line? Can it get too long?
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic. If the line gets too long, it can actually start to hurt. You get these checkups, these little wiggles further back in the pack.
Like an accordion effect?
Kind of, yeah, and it just kills the momentum. The front cars might still be pulling, but the energy dissipates further back. It becomes less efficient.
Huh. And what about individual drivers? Some are better pushers, some better at being pushed.
Well, for sure. Everyone has their strengths and maybe comfort zones. Some guys are great at giving a stable push. Others are really good at receiving one without getting unsettled.
Does that dictate strategy? Do you have to adapt?
Absolutely. You have to understand both sides. You might prefer pushing, but you need to trust the person behind you when it's your turn to be pushed. Sometimes you definitely have to operate outside your comfort zone to make a move or just hold your position, relying on your drafting partners. It's like a constant high-speed negotiation.
Wow. Okay, let's talk pit stops. The money stop, that sounds critical.
It is. It's that final required pit stop. It's called the money stop because, well, gaining or losing even a single second there can determine your track position for the final shootout. It often decides the race.
And there are limits, right? Fuel, tires.
Yeah, big constraints. Only a 75% fuel tank limit, so you can't fill it completely on any stop.
Yeah.
And only 5 sets of tires total for the whole race. You have to manage that carefully.
So drivers are coordinating this stuff. I heard maybe in Discord or something.
Definitely. Teams or groups of drivers will be talking, planning when to pit together to maximize the draft coming in and leaving the pits. We saw the RBM guys, Loving, Bogue, Reagan, trying different things.
Like what?
Well, at one point they pitted last among the lead group, hoping to maybe shave a second or 2 seconds off their stop time since they knew exactly when everyone else was finishing. But other times, pitting first can give you an advantage if you execute it well. It's a gamble.
And in a long race like this, that single fast repair each car gets must be like gold.
Oh, absolutely invaluable. It's basically a one-time use, get-out-of-jail-free card for major damage.
How does it work exactly?
It lets you instantly fix the car, cosmetically and aerodynamically, without spending minutes, maybe laps, sitting in the pits for repairs. A normal repair can totally end your day, so having that fast repair in your back pocket is crucial.
We probably saw why it's so valuable, given some of the incidents.
Oh, yeah. The mid-race definitely had its share of drama. That first caution on lap 11 with Cody Gibson and Thomas Stevens. Showed how quickly things go wrong.
Right.
And Mark Miller, in the number 8, he was a lap down but just barely missed that wreck. That kept his hopes alive for getting the lucky dog later.
The lucky dog.
Yeah.
That's getting your lap back under yellow.
Exactly. The first car 1 lap down gets waved around. Huge break.
Right.
Then the second caution, lap 36. Jason Rushing tipped Mark Arthur into the wall. Collected Dalton Kilroe, Chris Mackey too. More chaos.
Were there moments without cautions that were still hairy?
Plenty. Mark Arthur actually drove down onto the grass intentionally at one point to catch the car after a incredible save. Ben Holland got bumped from behind but somehow kept it straight, though he lost the draft. Real skill on display.
Any penalties that shook things up?
Yeah, Thomas Stevens got a black flag for leaving a closed pit. It's usually a drive-through penalty, costs a ton of time. And Cody Gibson got caught speeding on pit road. That pretty much ended his chances right there.
Yeah.
Small mistakes, big consequences.
And you mentioned Dalton Kilroe. He didn't even wreck, right? His engine just blew.
Yeah, late in the race too. Absolutely gutting for him. Likely happened from sitting behind someone too long. Engine wasn't getting enough clean air to stay cool.
Just overheating.
Seems like it. A harsh reminder of, well, virtual physics, I guess.
Yeah.
And then there was that huge incident on pit road involving Kyle Wellman.
What happened there?
He locked up his brakes coming in, slid, and just collected Tom Kratos and Brandon Miller. Caused a massive chain reaction behind the people checking up.
Yeah.
Really shuffled the field dramatically.
Man, Talladega sounds intense.
Yeah.
How did the race dynamic change towards the end?
It evolved, you know. Early on, lots of chaotic three-wide racing. But as laps wound down, it got more single file. Drivers were conserving, being patient, waiting for that moment when, you know, the gloves will come off.
Positioning for the final sprint.
Exactly. Just waiting for the right time to make the move.
And as we hit those final laps, the RBM guys, that Power 3, Reese Bogue, Steve Loving, Richard Reagan Jr., you mentioned they were real-life friends.
Yeah, and that seemed to give them an edge. They can almost communicate without saying a word. They made this really decisive late race charge as a unit.
So how did that camaraderie play out right at the finish?
It was key to that incredibly intense finale. The three of them closed the gap to the leaders, looked like they were setting up their own private shootout for the win.
Wow.
Then it gets down to 2 to go, then the white flag lap. That's critical because at Talladega, under NASCAR rules, which iRacing often mirrors, there are no cautions on the last lap. Whatever happens, happens.
All bets are off?
Totally. And it set up this 4-car battle. Scotty Stevens, Chris Carroll, and then Bogue and Loving from that RBM group.
The final turn. What happened?
Drama. Coming through turn 4, final lap, Bogue apparently tries to block Stevens up high to protect the lead or maybe help his teammate Loving.
And
it resulted in contact. A multi-car wreck involving Bogue. Stevens, Mark Miller got collected too. Chaos right at the line.
So who won amidst all that?
Chris Carroll. He basically navigated the wreck. It reminded me of something Jimmy Johnson used to say. Sometimes they come to you. Carroll just picked a hole, went for it, and hoped. Came out the other side in first.
Incredible. Just finding a path through the mayhem.
Exactly. A testament to keeping your cool and just seizing that tiny opportunity when everything else is going crazy.
Looking back at the whole race, besides Carroll's win, any other standout drives, recoveries maybe?
Oh, definitely. Chris Mackey was impressive. Started way back in 20th, got caught in that early accident, but battled back to finish 7th. It's a heck of a recovery drive.
Oh.
And Larry Bell, he won the official Hard Charger Award, gained 25 spots during the race. That takes some serious strategy and skill, not just luck.
What a ride. So Chris Carroll takes the checkered flag, but, I mean, this deep dive really shows it was so much more than just who finished first.
Precisely. It was, in many ways, a victory for Mission 22. Over $1,300 raised. That speaks volumes about the generosity and the real purpose behind the whole event.
Yeah, this deep dive, it just reveals how a virtual race, something that might seem simple on the surface, can be packed with really complex strategy, totally unexpected drama, and this profound sense of community. All of it coming together for a really meaningful cause.
Absolutely.
You've seen how camaraderie and competition can thrive in these, well, unexpected places, right? Merging entertainment with actual real-world impact. So it makes you wonder what hidden communities or, unexpected acts of kindness might be happening in your own digital worlds.
Good question.
Things just waiting for a deep dive to uncover their true impact.